What if I told you that in exactly 7 minutes, you could reprogram your reality using nothing but your breath? This isn't positive thinking. It's a real technique, an ancient secret so powerful it's been hidden for millennia. Most people try to manifest their desires using the mind, but that's the mistake. The key isn't in what you think, but in how you breathe. There's a specific breathing pattern, an access code that turns off your critical mind and opens a direct doorway to the quantum field. The ancient Egyptians, led by Thoth, the architect of reality, knew this secret. They called it Gateway 111. In this video, I'm going to give you the full step-by-step of this technique. But I need to warn you, the reason they hid this from you is much darker than you might think, and understanding this is crucial for the technique to work. Stay with me until the end, because what I reveal in Part 7 might change your life forever. If you feel ready to open this gateway, comment down below. The key is in my breath. Man is a great miracle, a being worthy of reverence and worship. For he moves freely between worlds, he pierces the heavens with his mind and descends to the depths of the earth with his breath. Imagine that inside your mind there's a vault that holds the key to unlocking the reality you desire, not as a distant dream, but as a tangible and immediate experience. Most people go their entire lives without even knowing this vault exists, living in a hallway of mirrors that only reflects what they already know. They strive, they struggle, they try everything. Positive thinking, vision boards, affirmations repeated to exhaustion. But none of it truly works as promised, and frustration builds up, creating an even thicker layer of disbelief and conformity. The fundamental mistake lies in the approach. They're trying to force the vault open from the outside using willpower, logic, and surface-level desire. They believe that if they think hard enough, the universe will yield. But the truth is, the universe doesn't respond to force, it responds to frequency. The vault doesn't open with a hammer, it opens with a key. And that key isn't a thought, it's not a magic word, it's not a complicated ritual. It's something you already do every second of every day, but unconsciously and without control. The secret combination is a breathing pattern, a rhythmic and specific sequence that works like a biological master key, a direct access code to your internal operating system. Think of it as a password you never knew you had, one that can bypass the gatekeeper of your conscious mind, the one that doubts, criticizes, and sabotages. This key allows you to directly access the subconscious, the place where your reality is truly programmed and constructed. And the most shocking part is that this access can be established in under 7 minutes. This combination, however, isn't a modern discovery. It's been kept secret for millennia, carefully hidden in ancient texts that few have ever seen, and whispered only among initiates in remote monasteries, far from the eyes of the world. They knew this knowledge was far too powerful to be given to just anyone. Not because it was evil, but because it gives power back to the individual, rendering any external system of control obsolete. The ability to shape your own reality is true freedom. So why would they hide this from you? The answer is simple and at the same time deeply unsettling. An individual who masters their internal reality cannot be easily manipulated. They're no longer a passive consumer of ideas, fears, and products. They become a conscious creator. Keeping this key a secret ensures that the majority remain on the hamster wheel, chasing happiness outside of themselves. always dependent on something or someone else. The system needs you to believe that the power lies out there, not within your own breath. But what they didn't count on is that knowledge, like water, always finds a way to leak through. And the path to rediscovering this key doesn't just lead to snow-capped, isolated peaks. It guides us to a much older place, a place of sand and pyramids where the secret of breath was first documented. The reason this technique was so zealously guarded for so long is far more shocking than you might imagine, involving secrets that were buried in the sands of time. In 1921, a British archaeological expedition, led by an officer fascinated by Eastern legends, ventured into the impenetrable mountains of the Himalayas. They weren't looking for fame or fortune, but for knowledge that, according to rumors, could alter human perception of reality. After weeks of a grueling journey, they found an isolated monastery, almost forgotten by time, carved into the rock like an eagle's nest. Inside, they didn't find gold, jewels, or the artifacts that typically filled European museums. What the monks showed them was something far more valuable and infinitely more dangerous. Ancient scrolls, made from a material archaeologists had never seen, containing detailed descriptions of a breathing technique. It wasn't a simple meditation practice, it was an instruction manual for consciousness, a precise method to rewire neural circuits and access states that Western science considered impossible. The discovery was so impactful that the expedition's reports were immediately classified as secret by the British government. The information was deemed dangerous to the power structures of the time. Why? Because the monks didn't view the technique as a spiritual exercise, but as a tool of sovereignty. They called it the gateway, because they knew that a people who master their internal reality, who control their emotional and mental state, cannot be externally controlled by fear, propaganda, or scarcity. The freedom this technique provided was a direct threat to any system built on control. This practice was, at its core, a form of ancient bioengineering. The monks understood, millennia before modern neuroscience, that breath was the interface between the body and the mind, the physical and the non-physical. They knew how to use specific breathing rhythms to induce states of high brain coherence, moments where the manifestation of an intention was no longer an act of hope, but a physical consequence. They could literally breathe a new reality into existence. And that was a power the Western world was not ready to accept. What the British explorers and even the monks themselves may not have fully known was that this knowledge didn't originate in the mountains of Tibet. Those scrolls were, in fact, a copy, a legacy of a much older wisdom that had traveled through cultures and centuries. The true origin of this technique came from a place most people associate with pyramids and pharaohs, not elevated states of consciousness. The original source was ancient Egypt, and it was directly connected to a mythical figure. This figure wasn't a pharaoh or a general, but an entity the Egyptians regarded as the very architect of reality. A god who mastered wisdom, writing, magic, and most importantly, the secrets of life and death. He was the guardian of the knowledge that allowed man to transcend his mortal condition and become a conscious creator. And the name of this architect of reality echoes through history, holding the key to understanding how a simple breath can, in fact, alter the fabric of the universe. The connection to Thoth, the architect of reality. The technique the Tibetan monks protected so zealously was, in fact, a fragment of a much older and deeper knowledge attributed to Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom. Thoth was not just a deity to be worshipped, he was considered the master of divine knowledge, the scribe of the gods, the one who understood the fundamental laws that govern the cosmos and consciousness. Thoth, who would later be syncretized by the Greeks and known as Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great, was the author of one of the most powerful principles ever recorded. The universe is mental. This is not a poetic phrase, but a literal statement about the nature of reality. It means that the world we perceive as solid and external is, at its core, a projection of the mind. But how can such a vast concept be applied in practice? How can we use this truth to stop being spectators and become creators? Thoth's answer was left in a legendary text, far less known than the Emerald Tablet, but perhaps even more practical, the Book of Breaths. In this book, Thoth revealed that breathing is not merely the mechanical process of inhaling and exhaling air to keep the body alive. He described it as the vehicle of intention itself, the sacred and direct bridge that connects your conscious mind with the matter of the universe. Every inhale is an absorption of pure potential, and every exhale is an imprint of your will on the quantum field. The technique the monks guarded was, therefore, the practical and direct application of this hermetic principle. It was a method for aligning the frequency of the individual mind with the frequency of the universal mind through a specific and mathematical breathing pattern. It's not about asking the universe for something as if it were a separate entity, like a child asking parents for a gift. It is a process of merging, of becoming the universe itself in a state of coherence, where your intention and the will of the cosmos become one. The simplicity of the technique hides an eerie precision. It's not about randomly taking deep breaths, but about following a rhythm, a cadence that works like a radio frequency. By tuning into this specific frequency, you open a direct communication channel with your subconscious and with the field of infinite possibilities. You stop operating from your logical, limited mind and start operating from a state of pure potential where you no longer need to fight against reality, because you become the force that shapes it. And the key to making all of this work, the secret that connects the ancient wisdom of Thoth with the latest scientific discoveries, is how this specific breathing pattern can literally hack your brain's operating system. It acts like an administrator command, giving you access to functions of your own biological system that you never knew you had. And by activating these functions, you gain the ability to press a reset button in your own mind. Your breath is not just a biological process, it's the most powerful remote control you have over your nervous system. Most people live on autopilot, breathing short and shallow, which keeps the brain in a constant, low-level alert state, the survival mode. In this state, you only react, fight, or flee. There is no space for creating, for innovating, for manifesting something new. You're just trying to survive the next moment. When you breathe in a specific and controlled way, as taught in the ancient texts, you send direct electrical signals through the vagus nerve, the main communication pathway between the brain and the body. This signaling instantly changes brain chemistry. You force your system out of the survival mode, dominated by the sympathetic nervous system, and into the creation and repair mode, governed by the parasympathetic system. It's like turning off the fire alarm so you can hear the music. Cutting-edge neuroscience studies using functional MRI confirm what the ancients already knew. Certain rhythmic breathing techniques can increase the production and synchronization of gamma brainwaves by up to 700%. Gamma waves are the fastest frequency pattern of the brain, associated with moments of insight, expanded awareness, and ultra-fast information processing. It's the state the brain enters when you have a eureka moment, when it connects ideas in new and powerful ways. It's the brain state of genius. Imagine finding a hidden reset button in your brain. A button that, when pressed, temporarily shuts off the constant noise of your analytical mind. The inner voice that says this is impossible, you can't, this isn't for you. At the same time, this button activates the part of your brain that simply creates, that operates from intuition and pure potential, free from the chains of limiting beliefs and past experiences. You're no longer trapped by your story. You are free to write a new future. The technique we're about to reveal doesn't just press that button momentarily. It holds it down for exactly the amount of time needed for a new program to be installed. It allows you to access your subconscious deliberately, rewriting the core beliefs that govern your life. You stop being an effect of your past programming and become the cause of your present and future reality. Your life stops happening by chance and starts happening by design. And all of this neurological and quantum transformation begins with a three-phase sequence. 3 simple but incredibly precise steps that form a code. A code that, when executed in the correct order, opens the doors of perception and allows you to access the power of manifestation that has always been dormant inside you. The 3 phases of Gateway 111. The first phase of this code is activation, the moment you turn the ignition of the creation engine. The technique is a 3-part code, a precise sequence that works like a combination to unlock your deepest potential. Each phase has a specific biological and energetic purpose, and the magic happens in the transition between them. The first phase is activation. You begin with a deep, controlled inhale through the nose, counting exactly to 4 seconds. This act is not passive. It's a deliberate command to your body, activating the sympathetic nervous system. It's like starting the engine of a high-performance car, preparing your system for powerful action. The second phase is integration. Immediately after the inhale, you begin to exhale slowly through the mouth for exactly 8 seconds, twice the length of the inhale. This prolonged exhale is the key that triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system. It sends a powerful signal of safety and control to your brain, which responds by flooding your system with GABA, the main inhibitory neurotransmitter. The result is a unique state of relaxed alertness. You're fully present and in control, but free from anxiety and mental noise. The third and most crucial phase is the quantum void. After the full exhale, you hold your lungs empty without air for 2 seconds. This small interval of time is the best-kept secret of the monks and ancient sages. In this vacuum, in this moment of total suspension, your brainwaves naturally drop into theta frequencies. The theta state is the gateway to the subconscious, the state of deep meditation, hypnosis, and lucid dreaming. It's the moment when the conscious mind steps aside and your subconscious becomes fully open and programmable. Repeating this 4-8-2 sequence is what initiates the transformation. Each cycle deepens the state of coherence between your heart and your brain. The inhale energizes, The exhale relaxes and the void opens. You are literally hacking your own biology to create an ideal state of receptivity. You are turning off the critical filter of your mind and opening a direct line of communication with the part of you that actually creates your reality. The constant repetition is what builds momentum. But it's not just the repetition that matters, it's the intention behind it. During each cycle, your focus is not on problems or on what's missing, but on the feeling of the reality you want to create. You're not asking, you're feeling. You're tuning your vibration to the vibration of your already realized desire. With every breath, you're teaching your body and your mind what it feels like to already have what you seek. You're building a new memory of the future. However, the real magic, the turning point where the impossible becomes possible, doesn't happen on the 1st or the 10th cycle. There's a specific number of repetitions, a neurological threshold that, when crossed, triggers a cascade of events in the brain that transforms the process from a simple relaxation technique into a true manifestation gateway. And that number, kept secret for centuries, is what gives the entire process its name. The question that echoes is, why exactly 111 repetitions? This number was not chosen for mystical or symbolic reasons, but for a purely mathematical and neurological one. The ancient sages, through millennia of inner experimentation, discovered what modern neuroscientists are only beginning to map. What happens in the brain around the 111th breath cycle is a phenomenon they call cross-frequency coupling. It's a moment of total synchronization. Imagine the different areas of your brain as instruments in an orchestra. Most of the time, they're playing different songs, creating a background noise of thoughts, emotions, and concerns. During the 4-8-2 breathing practice, these instruments begin to tune. Around the 111th cycle, something extraordinary happens. All the instruments begin to play the same note, at the same frequency, in perfect harmony. Alpha, theta, beta, and gamma brainwaves, which normally operate in separate channels, synchronize and amplify each other, creating a wave of coherent and powerful energy. It's at this peak of coherence on the 111th breath that your default mode network temporarily goes offline. This is the part of the brain responsible for creating your sense of self, your ego, your memories, your limiting beliefs, and your personal story. It's the voice that weaves the narrative of who you are, based on everything that has ever happened to you. When this network quiets down, you experience a moment of pure existence, free from the weight of the past and the anxiety of the future. You are no longer your story. In this precious instant, you're no longer thinking about a new reality. You are breathing and becoming it. The separation between you and what you desire disappears. Duality collapses. You and your intention merge into a single vibrational frequency. It's a complete neurological reset, a reboot of your internal operating system. You stop being the story you tell yourself every day and become pure potential, a blank canvas ready to be filled with new programming. And this shift is not just a fleeting feeling or an abstract mental experience. The transformation descends to the most fundamental level of your being, to your biological code. The energy and information generated by this state of supercoherence begin to interact with your body in a way that modern science is only beginning to understand. The new programming doesn't remain only in your mind. It is sent to every one of the trillions of cells in your body. This wave of coherence reaches the core of your cells, where your DNA resides. You're not just changing your thoughts, you're literally sending new instructions to your body. You're telling it to operate from a new blueprint, a new design. And this change, which begins with a simple breath, has the power to rewrite your genetic expression in real time, transforming not just how you feel, but who you fundamentally are. The 7-minute technique that manifests everything. This change, which begins as a simple breath, has the power to rewrite your genetic expression in real time. Now, let's put all the pieces together and reveal the complete mechanism. The 7 minutes are not a symbolic or arbitrary amount of time. It is the exact neurological time the brain needs to complete the 111 breath cycles in the 4-8-2 rhythm. One full cycle takes approximately 14 seconds, but the practice accelerates the rhythm to about 4 seconds per full cycle of inhale, pause, exhale, pause. And more importantly, to stabilize the new brain chemistry that enables manifestation. It is the turning point, the moment when the change becomes irreversible. Here is the full technique, the map to open the inner gateway. First, find a place where you won't be interrupted. Sit comfortably with your spine upright to allow energy to flow freely. Close your eyes and set a clear and concise intention. Don't ask, don't beg. Simply decide what you want to manifest and feel the emotion of already having achieved it. Feel the gratitude, the joy, the peace. Anchor that emotion in your heart. This is your destination, the target where your energy will be directed. Now, start breathing. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, feeling the vital energy filling your lungs. Exhale through your mouth for 8 seconds, releasing all tension, all doubt, all resistance. Hold the emptiness without air for 2 seconds, entering the space of pure potentiality. Repeat this cycle again and again. Your only focus should be the rhythm of the breath and the feeling of the reality you're already creating within yourself. If your mind wanders, gently bring your focus back to the count and to the emotion. Continue this process for 111 cycles. Don't worry about counting perfectly. Your intention and your body will know when the threshold has been reached. During these 7 minutes, you are building a wave of coherent energy. Your heart rate will synchronize with your brainwaves. Your cells will begin to vibrate in unison with your intention. You're no longer just thinking about your desire, you're becoming a living, pulsing, vibrational magnet for it. You are broadcasting a clear and powerful signal to the quantum field. By the end of the 7 minutes, after completing the 111th cycle, you will not be the same person who began. You've opened the inner gateway 111. The chemistry of your brain has been altered. New neural pathways have been activated. You are no longer operating from the frequency of lack or desire, but from the frequency of having and gratitude. You are no longer asking the universe to give you something. You've aligned yourself with the frequency of that thing, and by the law of resonance, the universe has no choice but to deliver it. But here's the secret most people don't understand. The work doesn't end when you open your eyes. In fact, that's when it begins. What happens in the moments, hours, and days after those 7 minutes is what separates those who consistently manifest their desires from those who simply had an interesting experience. The universe will begin to test you, to see if you truly changed your frequency or if it was just a temporary state. Your reaction to these tests defines everything. By reaching this state of deep coherence, You activate in your own biology the most mysterious and powerful principle of quantum physics, the observer effect. Quantum science shows us that, at the subatomic level, particles exist in a state of pure potential, a wave of infinite possibilities until they are observed. It is the act of observing that collapses the wave and forces one of those possibilities to become a particle, a real physical experience. You are doing exactly that, but with your life. During the 7 minutes, you are not just observing a possibility with your mind. You are becoming the frequency of that possibility with your entire being. You are actively collapsing the potential wave of your desire into a physical experience. Cutting-edge research institutes, like the Institute of Noetic Sciences, have already demonstrated in the lab that individuals in high brain-heart coherence states can influence random number generators, the structure of water, and even the healing rates of cells in other people at a distance. This is not fiction, it's science. With this technique, you transcend the role of victim of circumstances, the boat adrift in the ocean of life, and take your rightful position as the architect of your experience. You stop reacting to the world, and the world begins to react to you. Reality, which once seemed solid and unchangeable, begins to mold itself to your new internal frequency. This is where so-called coincidences and synchronicities begin to happen with remarkable frequency. You think of someone, and that person calls you. You need a piece of information, and it appears in a book that falls off a shelf. These are not accidents. They are the universe's response to your new vibrational signal. They are the bridges the quantum field is building to take you from your current state to the physical manifestation of your desire. Opportunities that were completely invisible to you before, because you weren't on the frequency to perceive them, begin to appear everywhere. People, resources, and ideas you need for the next step simply show up in your life as if they were drawn by a magnet. But there's one final secret here, something the monks considered so sacred that it was rarely shared outside the innermost circles of the monastery. They knew that reaching the state of coherence was only half the battle. The other half was maintaining it. The external world, with its chaos, its negative news, and its distractions, will constantly try to pull you back to your old frequency. Remaining in the role of creator requires a discipline that goes beyond the 7-minute practice. They understood that change was not just an event, but a continuous process of realignment. And for that, they used a tool that turned the mind from an enemy into an ally. A tool that allowed the transformation occurring at a quantum and invisible level to manifest even more quickly and powerfully on the physical level, changing the biological structure of the practitioner itself. Reprogramming your DNA in real time. This tool is directly connected to how your body responds to your new instructions, and this goes far beyond psychology or positive thinking. We're talking about a fundamental biological shift. Researchers from renowned institutions like Harvard Medical School have discovered something the ancient sages already knew. Breathing and meditation practices like this can, in fact, alter your DNA expression within minutes. You're not just changing your mind, you're rewriting your own biological instruction manual. In rigorous studies, it was observed that after a single session of deep and focused breathing, genes linked to inflammation, stress, and cell death are deactivated or down-regulated. At the same time, genes associated with enhanced cognitive function, stress resilience, energy metabolism, and cellular regeneration are activated or upregulated. This means you have the power to literally turn off the genes that make you sick and turn on the genes that heal and strengthen you, using nothing but your breath and your intention. Neuroscientist Dr. Sarah Lazar of Harvard, using MRI technology, went even further. She proved that consistent practice of meditation and conscious breathing increases the thickness of the cerebral cortex, especially in areas related to attention, perception, and decision-making. You are physically building a stronger, more focused brain, one more capable of perceiving and creating the reality you desire. The Gateway 111 technique simply accelerates this process exponentially. Think of each breath cycle as a programming command. Each 4-second inhale is a download of new possibilities, new information, and new energy directly from the quantum field. Each 8-second exhale is the deletion of outdated programming from your system, limiting beliefs, painful memories, self-sabotaging patterns. You are performing a cleanup and upgrade of your internal operating system with each breath. The change happens on such a fundamental level that the body has no choice but to follow the new blueprint you've installed. If your new internal programming is one of health, vitality, and abundance, your cells receive that message and begin to operate accordingly. The body is a loyal servant of the mind. It doesn't question the orders it receives, it simply executes them. The problem is, until now, you were sending conflicting commands, ones based in fear and scarcity. But how can you ensure this new programming becomes your new default state? How do you make sure this change isn't just a peak experience, but a permanent transformation in how you live and exist? The coherence reached in the 7 minutes is powerful, but it needs to be anchored into your daily life. And for that, the monks developed a final practice, a simple yet genius tool to ensure that your new reality not only manifests, but becomes your only reality. But these weren't ordinary journals for recording past events. They didn't write about what had happened. They used their journals to anchor the future they were creating. These were manifestation journals, records of the new reality taking shape. After each 7-minute session, at the peak of brain coherence and mental clarity, they immediately documented anything that surfaced. They wrote down ideas that seemed to come out of nowhere, vivid and meaningful dreams from the night before, synchronicities and coincidences that occurred throughout the day, no matter how small. They noted subtle changes in their perception, new sensations, new feelings of peace or confidence. They knew manifestation rarely appears as a lightning bolt from a clear sky. It starts as a whisper, a small shift, a sign. And the act of recording these signs trains the brain to recognize them. By writing them down, you're strengthening the new neural pathways you began building during the practice. You're telling your brain, this matters, pay attention to this. Your reticular activating system, the filter that determines what you perceive in the world, begins to recalibrate. It stops looking for evidence of your old reality of lack and limitation and starts actively searching for signs of your new reality of abundance and possibility. What you focus on expands, and the journal is the tool that directs that focus. But the final secret, the deepest truth that was whispered only to the most advanced initiates, was this. The technique was never about getting things. It was never about manifesting a new car, more money, or a relationship. Those things are just scenery. The real purpose of the technique is to become the person who already has all of that. It's about the transformation of your identity. It's about evolving into the version of you who naturally lives in the frequency of abundance, health, and love. If you've made it this far, it's because something inside you recognized the truth behind these words. So, leave a comment. I crossed Gateway 111. That way, I'll know who truly walked this journey with me to the end. And if you want to support this channel more directly, know that there's a special access link in the first pinned comment. There you can contribute to help more content like this reach those who need it. Any support, no matter how small, makes a huge difference for me and the growth of this project. But look, just the fact that you watched all the way to the end already helps me a lot. If this content made sense to you, share it with someone. It might be exactly what that person needed to hear today. And before you go, a special video has been prepared for you to continue this journey. Click on the screen now and I'll meet you there.